Increasing all shadow periodic damage dealt to the target by you by 5%, stacks up to 3 times. Total 15%. Same as always. Nightfall, also same as always. 4% chance to proc a free Shadow Bolt. Well, it's not free. It reduces the cast time by 100%, but you still get the mana cost. It's Corruption and Drain Life, though, so yeah. Death's Embrace. Not going to talk about that. Soulburn, Seed of Corruption. Grants the Soulburn empowerment to your Seed of Corruption spell. Your Seed of Corruption detonate effects will afflict corruption on all enemy targets. The Soul Shard will be refunded if the detonation is successful. I'm kind of skeptical about this. And the reason I'm skeptical about it is, will I be able to apply Seed of Corruption and my normal corruption on the target at the same time? Because previously you weren't able to do that. And Seed of Corruption is, of course, Affliction's area of effect spell. Demonology gets Hellfire, Destruction gets Rain of Fire. And if this will neutralize being able to reapply Seed of Corruption, then Warlocks won't really have a key area of effect ability, but we'll see. I'll test this out on the target dummy. Let's see, I'll put 1 point in Eradication just so that I can show you all these talents over here. I'm honestly not much of a fan of this talent because, to my knowledge, it does not affect the haste of your damage over time abilities, but we'll see if that's been changed. So, yeah. We'll see when Kata comes around. Pandemic. Reduces the global cooldown of your Bane and Curse spells by 0.5 seconds. That's pretty nice. For PvP and PvE, your Trained Soul has a 100% chance to refresh the duration of your Unstable Affliction spell when dealing damage to targets that are below 25% health. Okay. That's nice. Everlasting Affliction. Increases the critical effect chance of your Corruption, Seed of Corruption, or Unstable Affliction by 15%. And your Drain Life, Drain Soul, and Haunt spells have a 100% chance to reset the duration of your Corruption spell on the target. And, of course, you have your Haunt, which is the same as always. I'm a bit concerned because previously there's been an issue with Warlocks where if you reset the duration before it's ticked, it just won't tick. You know, and that's been an issue that's been present for a while now. So, yeah. We'll see if that's still the case. Anyway, I like to dip into Fel Synergy because this is great for keeping your pets up if you like to use a Fel Hunter or a Succubus. And, yeah. Demonic Embrace. I dip into this because extra stamina is always nice for Warlock because it doubles over for raid survivability and mana. But I'm not going to take it at the moment because I'm not level 85 yet and don't have that many talent points. It's more important for me to get Bane right now, which is the reduces the cast time of your Shadow Bolt, Chaos Bolt, and Immolate spells by 0.5 seconds. This is a great dipping talent for any specialization, in my opinion, because you use one of those spells in your rotation no matter what. And later I'll probably also look into Shadow and Flame, but for now we're sticking with Bane. Okay, let's learn these and see what's new. Learned. I also got some glyphs in my bag, so I'll be showing you guys in a minute. Okay, first things first, though. Let's put Haunt on the taskbar. Let's put Soul Swap on the taskbar. And let's put Unstable Affliction on the taskbar. And pretty sure those are all the spells I got. Looks like it. Except for Curse of Exhaustion, but we already all know what that does, so I'm not going to bother showing that. Okay. Yeah, talents, spellbook. I'll put it in my bar for later, but yeah. Okie dokie. Let's see what we do. Okay. Okay, so now that I've applied all of my effects, let's see what happens when I click Soul Swap. Okay, the target's been Soul Swapped. It ripped all of the dots off of that target. Okay. Let's see what happens when I apply it to this one over here. Soul Swap Exhale. Okay, so it's a new spell effect. And it applies most of the spells. Alright, let's try this again. Soul Swap. Soul Swap effect. Okay, so it does not transfer... It does not transfer Haunt, and it does not transfer Shadow Embrace. That's interesting. It just transfers the damage abilities. Alright. Okay then. Let's reapply and test something else. Soul Swap. Soul Swap Exhale. Soul Swap. Soul Swap Exhale. And that would be the Shadow Trance Instant Cast Shadow Bolt spell proccing. Soul Swap. Soul Swap Exhale. Okay, so you can Soul Swap a target that you transfer the dots to for an additional transfer later. So you're allowed to do that. But you can't Soul Swap the same target that you pulled it off of. So this also means that you can't Soul Swap a target and then Soul Swap 3 other targets to transfer the dots onto like 3 or 4 different targets. So if you were thinking about doing that, you're not allowed to. You can only Soul Swap 1 target at a time. So there's a limit. You can't Soul Swap like 3 targets as a way of gaining a Warlock's version of Pestilence. So don't try that. Now I was going to, depending on whether or not that was something that could happen, I was going to debate the usefulness of the Glyph of Soul Swap. But now that we know that you can't swap to multiple targets, well, here's the Glyph of Soul Swap. And basically, your Soul Swap leaves your damage over time spells behind on the target that you Soul Swapped from, but gives your Soul Swap a 10-second cooldown. Now, I thought that this was going to be a bad thing, because I thought that you'd be able to Soul Swap repeatedly to move dots on a whole bunch of different targets, but since that's not the case, because of what I just showed you, where you have to move it and then move it back, and it can only be applied on 1 target at a time, this is pretty much going to be probably a mandatory glyph. So, yeah. Let's learn that one. And I'll apply it so I don't forget later. Glyph of Soul Swap. Wahoo. Okay. So that's applied. I'll get on to the rest of the glyphs a little bit later, but first things first. Let's see, what else did we learn? Okay, I showed you guys Soul Swap. And there's Soul Burn. I wonder if there's a Soul Burn effect for Soul Swap. Oh, Soul Burn. Create Healthstone. This is interesting. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay. Well, let's look at stuff in order. Okay. And the Soul Burn effect lasts for 15 seconds. It says secondary effects of some of your spells have been unlocked. Drain Life, Summons, Demonic Circle, Soulfire, Healthstone, Searing Pain. Okay. Let's, and it doesn't look like it's refreshing. Alright. So no automatic refresh. You have to use Soul Harvest to get Soul Shards back. Alright. And there's a little bit of cooldown on it. But let's look at those effects again. Searing Pain, 100% critical strike chance increase, makes Demon Summons instant. Create Healthstone, increases maximum health. I wonder why. I wonder how long. Drain Life, and of course, Seed of Corruption, which we talented into. Okay. Let's see what happens when I apply Seed of Corruption over to these 2 targets. Okay. Causes shadow damage every so on and so forth. And it applies Corruption on it and all the nearby targets. But will this block an additional Seed of Corruption? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. It doesn't block it. It doesn't block it, but you still can't apply Corruption and Seed of Corruption on the target at the same time. So, yeah. I'm kind of going to debate the usefulness of this particular talent, because if you're using Seed of Corruption, it's specifically for AoE, and that's just going to override the Corruption effect, but I guess it could be useful for an additional take every so often, or maybe useful in PvP situations. I don't know, but, well, now you guys know what it does, so, yeah. Oh, look, I've regained, yeah. Okay, so it gave me back the shard when it detonated. Alright then. Well, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Okay. So it's a quick drain life. You guys know what that means, so I don't need to show that. Searing Pain, definite crit. And let's see what Soulburn Create Healthstone does. It said it would give me some sort of effect. Okay, so it doesn't actually affect the creation of one. Increases maximum health by 20% for 8 seconds when Soulburn is active. Okay. Can't use it because I'm already at full health. Alright, well now you guys know what the Soulburns do. Pretty sure I covered all of them. All the ones that actually needed to be demonstrated. Alright then. That's that. And Soul Harvest. Awesome. And I'm regenerating my shards. Okay. And the Jinx Curse of Elements effect. Alright, let's take a look at that. I'm going to apply Curse of Elements here on this one, and let's see what happened to all these other targets. Let's see, Jinx, Curse of the Elements, and notice that this doesn't have a duration on it, so it's going to last pretty much however long this one lasts, and will be tied to it. And because of that, I don't think that it will aggro stuff that's nearby. Because this looks like one of those passive debuffs, like that dodge percent debuff from Icecrown Citadel that you got. So, yeah, probably will not cause aggro on everything in a 100-mile radius. Wahoo. Okay, the next thing I want to show you guys is combat regeneration from Soul Harvest. And you can't use Soul Harvest when you have full Soul Shards, so Soulburn, Soulfire, Instant Cast, applying my dots, applying my Haunt. I'm just going through a rotation until I burn through all 3 Soul Shards. So that'll be in about a minute or so. Yada 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 yada. Applying my Banes. And no, this is not like a big, intense rotation that I'm doing. I'm just trying to do a lot of damage and, yeah, make it look like I'm paying attention. Apply the dots. And I want to do that because I want to test out Combat Soul Harvest and see what it does, because it says best used between combats to recover soul shards. I suppose that means that there's some sort of negative effect if you don't use it out of combat, like maybe it gives you less soul shards, I suppose. We'll see about that. We will see. Look, a Valkyr came to join the fight. Wahoo. Big bad target dummy required the assistance of a Valkyr. Okay, we're casting spells, 30 seconds left-ish. I'm casting spells randomly just to make sure that I stay in combat. And, yeah, let's switch my pet to defensive and make him attack. Oh, look, the Imp's got a pretty nice range. Okay, so that'll keep me in combat. Alright. And Soulburn.